Curious what the city of Vancouver is doing to impact housing affordability? Increasing density. But is that a good thing? How can you capitalize on this as a buyer? Today, we're diving into the Multiplex Plan, what it is, and what does it mean for the city? What does this look like for you as a buyer? And at the end, I'm going to walk you through 6 properties in East Vancouver to paint a picture of what this looks like in real life real estate. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is about real estate in Vancouver, subscribe below. Tap the bell for notifications to be the first to hear what's going on in the current market. My name is Megan Becker, local realtor. Myself and my team get calls every day looking for people to make this incredible city their home. So whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, give me a call, text, or email, and I'm excited to talk to you about the best city in Canada. Okay, let's get into things. What is the Multiplex Plan? Let's talk about what this is on a high level. So the city of Vancouver implemented this plan for a handful of reasons. The main things were to increase housing density, to impact affordability and increase availability with properties, to diversify the amount of housing options that people have here, to preserve neighborhood character, and something that's going to be in line with the city's environmental and sustainability goals. And you're probably asking, who benefits from what's going on in place here? Well, I'm sure that you've all heard about the affordability crisis here in Vancouver. It is one of the most expensive cities in Canada to purchase housing, and I don't see that slowing down anytime soon. There's something that's been coined the missing middle, and this isn't just specific to Vancouver, it's happening in a lot of cities. But really what this is if you look at Vancouver, there is a lot of high-rise condos, and then there's a lot of single families. And this missing middle is the townhome, duplex, the row homes, that attached type properties that bridges the gap between, maybe a $700,000 condo versus, a $1.8 million home. Typically, first-time buyers probably purchasing something in around that $700 to $800 range, maybe. That's average sale price in most areas in Vancouver for a apartment-style condo. Then what does that person do when they start having kids or need a larger space? Typically, the next step is not a close to $2 million property. There needs to be some middle ground there. Or if it's a young family and they don't have enough money to purchase a $2 million property, there needs to be more in the middle of that $1 million to 1.5 range that comes in the form of the townhome or the duplex options there that allow people with families to get into properties. Well, I'm going to dive into more specifics here, but high level, what we're talking about is the city is now allowing all residential zone plots to increase the number of units that can be built on specific properties. So who really benefits from this multiplex plan that's been put in place? Well, existing homeowners benefit for multiple reasons here. So an existing homeowner can now add units or suites to their property. Maybe they can add lock-off suite in the basement or a laneway or something like that. They can build a suite on the lower floor. It allows people to age in place. But a lot of clients, they're older, they love the neighborhood they're in, they don't want to move, but they also don't want to take care of a 2,000 to 3,000 square foot home. And so it allows them to stay in place and maybe have a smaller unit on a ground level and to be able to rent off or potentially sell off other units on the property. The second demographic it benefits is renters and first-time buyers. Like I mentioned there in the beginning, it provides options in that missing middle for buyers, and then it provides tenants more options. There's a lot of apartment-style condos available for rent, but if you have a family, kids, you're probably not renting a down condo. You are wanting and likely looking for maybe a duplex or a townhome, so it provides those options. The third demographic this really appeals for is families looking for that multi-generational living. It's very common here is that you have, husband, wife with their kids and then grandparents all living in the same house, not necessarily in the exact same space. That's why this lends itself really well. Maybe grandparents could live in the laneway and then, mom and dad with kids could live in the main house and then they could rent off, a couple suites there or some combination of that. The next benefit is really for the community. Higher density increases the ability for walkability around the neighborhood, which is what Vancouver is known for. The higher the density in a neighborhood, the more likely it's going to bring more amenities and the mom and pop shops, coffees, restaurants, things like that people really enjoy being able to walk to, and just more amenities like that. And the fifth thing is it benefits the environment. With higher density and more amenities in these central neighborhoods, it decreases the need for vehicles. And there's been a lot of talks about, people just reducing the number of cars. I moved from Edmonton. You couldn't really exist in Edmonton without a car. And moving to Vancouver, I've said, if I wasn't in real estate, I need my car to, drive clients around and go everywhere. But if I was in a different career, I would definitely consider not having a vehicle. I even have a lot of couple friends and they share one vehicle because there's just not as much need to have a vehicle to drive around because everything is so accessible. The public transportation is great here and lots of things are really walkable. Okay, so for those of you more analytic types, you're probably wondering okay, what does this actually look like? What am I looking for in a property? Don't worry, I've got you covered here. So on a higher level, again here, start high, we're gonna work ourselves down to the nitty gritty stuff, which is why I'm gonna walk you through all these properties here towards the end. But what we're looking for on a high level is lot size initially. So if you look at the little graphic on the screen here, we're looking for lot area. So the smallest lot that you can do the multiplex plan on is a 4,000 square foot lot with a minimum frontage of 33 feet. And this is a pretty standard lot, 33 by 122 depth. And on this type of lot, you can put up to 4 units. And this could be a combination of a variety of different configurations. And here's just a quick example of different configurations here. But this is where you can talk with a builder that's really familiar with this to help figure out, okay, what's the best configuration for the lot size, for the layout, for the area in the city. Having something maybe a little bit taller within restrictions might lend itself well if you know that you're gonna have some really great views depending on, the trees on the streets and everything like that. And then the amount of units allowed on each lot just increases as the lot gets larger. So on a 5,000 square foot lot with a minimum frontage of 44 feet, you can put up to 5 units. And then a 6,000 square foot lot with a minimum frontage of 50 feet, you could put up to 6 units or up to 8 rental units. All right, let's jump on the computer and dive a little bit more into detail what this looks like. So I'm gonna walk you through 6 properties here. They're all located in East Vancouver. You might be wondering, why East Vancouver? Well, a couple reasons. I really like East Vancouver because of the affordability. Years and years ago, East Vancouver was more affordable. It still is more affordable than the West Side. And it used to be more like blue collar workers, but it's been really revitalized over the last years and families love it. I really love it. I've sold multiple clients into different types of properties in East Vancouver. They love it because it's very family oriented. There's great schools. It's really well connected, very walkable, and it is affordable. And so average sale price for single family residential properties in East Vancouver at the time of this recording is just under 1.9 million. So I've selected 6 properties in and around the $2 million range to give you an idea what I'm looking at here and where some of the opportunities are at. So this first property here, this is 1956 Adanac Street, and you'll notice a couple things here. So this is a 4,093 square feet. So the frontage is that minimum 33 there. And we're going to look at the map here, and we're going to zoom in. Super close to Commercial Drive, just off Victoria there. And we're looking, okay, so here's the lot, and it's got a lane, which is one of the pluses that builders look for here because it allows you to build that laneway suite in the back. So let's take a quick look here. So this one is listed for just under $2 million. It's built in 1911, and there's actually 2 units currently on this property here. So the typical play, this is really a home that a developer is going to purchase here. So let's take a look. It's an older home. Oftentimes you can tell it's tenants living in it just based on the photos here. It's quite cluttered and it's dated. A little bit of a reno, not obviously recently here. But one of the play is for a developer to purchase it, rent it out while they're applying for permits, and then, however long that takes, it could take, months up to potentially a year, just depending, and they rent it out in the meantime, and then they can demo and then build. So one of the things to notice about this property is that this lot is on a little bit of a slant here. So not your ideal lot. Builders tend to prefer that flat lot there. So this is where, I've helped a handful of clients purchase properties like this, and we have a really great relationship with multiple builders. And part of our due diligence process was actually having the builder come and do some of the viewings with us, or have them come in during the subject review period, take a look at the lot, give their perspective. But this wouldn't be, a 10 out of 10 lot. But again, it depends on value, location, and this is something that we can dive further into. Does it make sense for the value amount of your purchase price? Because the other thing to notice with this one, it's been on the market for 107 days. So one of the rules in real estate, the longer a property sits on the market, the more negotiable the seller is going to have to be. And so there might be some opportunities there that it might make sense to level out the lot, and it does make sense financially there. All right, we're gonna head back over to the map. So this is the first property we just looked at here. We're going to head a little bit further east to 3445 Adanac. And this is in a little segment. So this is actually the boundary between Burnaby and Vancouver, called Boundary Road. And you'll notice it is on the east side of Highway 1 here. So there's that little sliver of Vancouver that's in between Highway 1 and Boundary Road there. So this one does have a lane. It's actually the largest lot here at 5,800 square feet. It just hit the market last week. It's been on the market for about 9 days now. And this one just has 1 unit currently in it. So you can see, nice large lot here. Again, property is about 100 years old. It looks to be in fairly decent condition. It's actually really cool touring around the properties in Vancouver, and some of them are 100-plus-year-old homes. Some of them definitely look and feel like 100-plus-year-old homes. Some of them have been very, very well taken care of. So carpet definitely looks dated in this one. But again, we're not necessarily looking at this property for the house or looking at it for the land value here. And really all the house is valuable for is what the developer can do to rent it out in the meantime. So I know I had certain clients and they wouldn't look at anything with just one suite. They wanted at least 2 sources of rental income. And even though it was a year or so before they applied for permits, or while they waited for permits, that was one of their criteria they wanted. All right, heading back to the map, and we're going a little further west down to 1605 East 8th Ave. Zoom into this area here. This property is kind of interesting here. I really, really like this area. You'll notice it's actually by train tracks, but they don't go by it too often. And I actually have clients, I sold them a condo right on 7th, right there. They love this area. They love being able to walk to Commercial Drive. It's super quiet, big green streets. They absolutely love the area. One of the things that you'll notice with this property, first of all, is that there's no lane access. It's on a really, the end of, a really nice street here. The only buyer for this one is a developer. And unfortunately, no developer is picking this one up because it's been on the market for 411 days here. And my guess is just the lack of the lane. It's pretty high priced for what you can do with it. It's still that 33 frontage, but it's smaller than that 4,000 square foot lot. And there's currently 2 units. They're both being rented right now. So again, this one is purely lot value. Looks to be in decent shape, just looking at the pictures here. But that's typical to see in listings like this, where they're kind of mock-up drawings of what you could potentially do with the property. But I always tell clients, the listing realtor's goal is to sell this property, so we always want to make sure that we do our due diligence to confirm that this, in fact, could be what you could potentially do. One of the worst things you want to do is buy a property with this development potential and then realize somebody didn't dot the I's or cross the T's, and you can't actually do what you intend to do. So that's part of our due diligence and working with a realtor that understands the new regulations and the zoning, and is connected to the right professionals. I hope that you're enjoying this video and finding value in me diving through the Multiplex Plan and what you can actually do with it and who it benefits for. If you are enjoying this content, I would so appreciate it if you like, comment, and subscribe. It tells YouTube that you're enjoying the content and encourages me to keep making more. Let's get back to the video here. We're gonna head a little bit further west again to 616 East 10th. Zoom into this area. I am really partial. This area, really nice street on 10th Ave. So 10th Ave is actually the bike trail that goes from the west side of Vancouver all the way through East Van, especially in cherry blossom season in the spring. It's like a tunnel of cherry blossoms and you can go through like almost the entire length of the city. It's super pretty. Okay, we're here in Mount Pleasant. This one is your standard 33 by 122 foot lot. We're sitting at just over 4,000 square feet here. Property was built in 1609 and there's actually 3 units on this property. There's the main house and then 2 other units, and there is a lane to this one. So I really like this one. It just hit the market. It's been on for 2 days. So if you're curious if it goes really fast, put it in the comments and I'll make sure to let you know. So as you can see, pretty cluttered. Again, we're not looking at necessarily the inside of the house. Depending on this one, I do have clients and they want to do a renovation. They're actually looking for a property that has 3 units that they can substantially renovate it and build a laneway. So that is potentially another option. With this one is depending on the condition, we want to look at the major things, and this is where again that due diligence process comes in. Maybe we don't need to demo the property. Maybe we can do a heavy reno and then add the laneway suite or some combination like that. Okay, heading back to the map, and we're gonna take a look at our last property here on 41st Street. So we're at 1150 East 41st. This is a major through road here, 41st. All right, this is our last property here. So this one was built in 2008, and I wanted to include this one, but this is really a cool property. So you're not buying it to develop it here. We're a little bit smaller. We're at just over 3,100 square foot lot here, but it's a cool character style home of a newer quality. And that's one of the things I really like about Vancouver is that you can walk down some of these streets in East Vancouver and there'll be these newer homes, but they're built and designed to look like character homes. And I think that's one of the things that this multiplex plan is really doing a great job at, is cultivating this really great community feel and keeping the heritage and the character within it. So that's the biggest thing I wanted to highlight here. This property is not going to be one that you're necessarily going to look at for multiplex opportunities. So I hope you got value from this video. If you have any questions about the multiplex plan or what this plan could afford opportunities for you, please reach out. All my info is in the description box below. And if you're considering making a move in the greater Vancouver area, I would love to help. So please reach out. And until next time, I am actually going to jump on a Zoom with my team, and every Thursday we have a collaboration call about commercial properties. So little side note, if you have any questions about commercial, I'm your girl too.